Welcome, everyone, to Season 8 of the Gather Influence podcast, inviting women of faith across the globe to rise in purpose and influence your world with real conversations, bold words, and whole hearts. My name is Kim Hutchins, your Season 8 podcast host, along with my co-host, Kathy Ostapchuk. Today, I'm excited to bring you Sandee MacGregor. We dive right into our conversation of who told you no and who told you yes. I think you'll love hearing what she has to say. Let's get started. Welcome, everyone. I am so excited to have Sandee MacGregor on today, and she is a fellow homeschooler. I homeschooled my 4 children, and so it's exciting to talk to another mom who has lots of children that also homeschooled. Sandee has 5 children, and she's also an author. She's written 2 devotionals, and she has a new book coming out this spring. So welcome, Sandee.
Well, thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, and Sandee, can you share a little bit about who you are? I think it's exciting that you are a Canadian, you're an author, you've got devotional books out there, and that's something that everybody needs to know about. So can you share a bit about your story and your background?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. I've been married for 28 years to Duncan, and we met
Yeah.
when we were 18 at Muskoka Woods, and we have 5 children. As you mentioned, 24, 22, 20, 16, and almost 13. She's just shy of
Yeah.
13. So, yeah, so we live here in the Halton Hills area, and we love living in the country and with our dogs, and
Mhm.
attend Hope. And we have we're very thankful for a wonderful big family, and they've been very supportive of my journey all along and
Yeah.
helping me reach my goals, but just by praying with me and supporting me all along. And they're unexpected. These were not
Yeah.
expected moments in life, but God brought along these opportunities for blogging and creating a site and these devotionals. It's all the glory goes to Him
Yeah,
for
that's
sure.
amazing, right? And that's what we're going to talk a little bit about today is that unexpected, right? Where you are
Mhm.
now and how you got there and what
Yeah.
surprised you along the way. So
Yes.
let's
Yeah.
jump right into it, Sandee.
Mhm.
Um, who told you no, right? That's the title of our podcast this season for season 8. And so let's chat about a season that was hard for you and that you thought was going to be a certain way and then it
Mhm.
wasn't, right? Was God redirecting you? Did you have to have some hard conversations? So let's start there. I know that's a lot of questions, but
Everyone has a lot of stories of being told no in their life, especially being kind of at that midpoint in life.
Mhm.
But the first thing that came to my mind was way back in my journey, early on when I was thinking about publishing.
Yeah.
I had just 2 little ones, 2 toddlers, and a double stroller, and I would go to this place in Oakville, and it was a couple that I knew that were helping me put together a prototype of a children's book. So I had this
Okay.
dream, I had this goal and this passion to get published. And so when you asked the question about no, I can't even tell you how many no's that I got.
Oh
It
my
was
goodness.
I lost count. And back in the day, you mail in and your
Mhm.
letter, and I had this prototype of a children's book, and then they mail back the response. It was a very
Oh,
different over
yeah.
22 years ago. So I just thought, why is this desire in me? Why
Yeah.
do I keep getting the no? And my
Yeah.
husband was so supportive and people thought it was great, but that's all fine, but you still need somebody to tell you yes. So
Yeah.
eventually I remember having a conversation with a really good friend of mine, and she just talked about the fact that, is this bringing God glory the right
Oh,
way right now? And it made me step back and go, you know what? Actually, I'm feeling like God is putting this on hold. So I literally
okay.
shelved all of my ideas, and I thought, this season is not the right season. And it's
Wow.
here. I don't want it to die, but I had to let it go. And it was
Yeah.
really hard to let it go because I worked so hard for so long, but I thought,
Yeah.
that's okay. God has a plan. So then I just continued on with life and children and raising a family and doing what God kind of would bring in my path. So, yeah, I had to let it go because of all those
Yeah.
no's.
Yeah, right? That's so hard, right? And so discouraging. Did you have anyone
Mhm.
during that time? I know you mentioned your husband was so supportive, but anyone else too that came alongside you that was also
Yes.
like, it's not right now, maybe later?
Yes. Yes, definitely. What that girlfriend I was talking about,
Yeah,
she was right with me on the journey
good.
as well. And so she was always very prayerful and supportive. My sisters, my brother, my parents. So I've always been
Mhm.
so grateful to have just a wonderful community of praying family and supportive friends that said, you know what, it's okay. If this isn't the right season, it's okay. It doesn't
Yeah.
mean it's dead and gone, but sometimes you just have to let things go because you're holding on to it too tight. And I think that's what was happening.
So, who told you yes, right? Because that's a different conversation that's really exciting. But we all have people that God uses to either open doors for us or hold up our arms. And so they can be our armor bearers or encourage us at key points in our life. And so, who were those people for you? You've talked a little bit about them already, but what did that look like in a season when they were saying yes to you?
Wow. I think right away back to definitely to my mom and to my dad.
Mm,
I think about their constant prayerful support, constant encouragement, biggest cheerleaders, and just the consistency of always being there. And at the same time, saying, maybe this might be a better path for you, or just those accountability comments, which I think
yeah.
is really necessary in life. And my sisters, 100%, they are with me all the way. They read through things when I send them
Mhm.
something to read and just give me comments. And it's just honestly the prayer support. So I have to go back to the fact that these people have been so supportive. And so many of my friends too that I met when I was at Trinity Western, um, and Muskoka Woods, I just
Yeah.
feel like I have constant love and support. It's not perfect all the time because
No.
people are busy, but I do feel very blessed.
Yeah, that's amazing. And so here you are now, you've got some books released, and what has surprised you about this journey?
I never thought I would write devotionals, which is, it's just so funny because I've always loved, like, back in high school, English was not my strength. I will tell you, it was very hard and I didn't love it. And what I've realized over the years is that because when you're in a course, you're boxed
Mhm.
in and you have to do what you have to do. And
Yeah,
I was rebelling against that. I wanted to be creative. And there were really no creative writing courses that I really liked. There was writer's
yeah.
craft, which I still think they do today. And I didn't realize that I needed to get out of that box.
Yeah.
So I just journaled and I kept journaling and writing and journaling, you know, maybe submitting something to a little magazine. And then I started on Blogger just to kind of do
Okay.
like a little journal with our life here at home. So that kind of thing led me to the summer of 2019. And I just started to read through Psalm 119. And I don't know what it was except God. Something just clicked inside of me. And I
Mm.
thought, how would I go through Psalm 119 with my own girls? There's 176 verses. This is
Yeah,
a lot.
it
So
is.
then it was just like a really Holy Spirit moment because I felt like things just flowed out of me. And I wrote down kind of this basis for a devotional to help my girls and then maybe other mothers and their daughters go through it. That was not a
Awesome.
plan. I didn't set out to do it. And
Yeah,
so so it wasn't a plan. It wasn't my plan. It was
yeah,
God's plan.
yeah,
And so what I did is just said, okay, if this is what you want me to do, then show me what to do because I
yeah.
don't know what to do.
Right?
And yeah, it literally was just a laying down of my thoughts. And I just said, okay, God, this is way out there and
Mhm.
beyond what I feel like I'm capable of. And so I started to write it. And then I had my sister-in-law come alongside of me who helped me with marketing and put a site together. And all these things just kind of started to unfold. And she said, well, let's self-publish. Let's put this together. Let's put like a PDF
Wow.
together and
Yeah.
let's do 50 or 5,200. And I said, yeah, let's just see what we do. And then the
Mhm.
publication dream started to come back into my mind. And so I started researching again. Do I submit this to a publishing company? Do I even go down this route? Do I want another 50, 40, 30 no's?
Yeah, I
So
know, right? That's a lot of no's.
a lot of no's. So I guess what happened is from that point, um, I kept saying to my husband, like, I have this dream now. I have this
Mhm.
prototype in front of me again, however many years later. And he said to me, and this goes back to the Muskoka Woods part, he just said, well, John McCulley, he's a very good friend. He has a book published. Why don't you ask him where he was published? And I kept thinking of the
Yeah.
States. I think we Canadians forget we have so much here.
I
And
know.
he has a book with Castle Key Books. And so he said, well, why don't you just submit it to Larry at Castle Key Books? I'm like, I've never heard of them. So I researched them.
No.
And the next thing you know, I guess within 6 to 8 weeks, I got my first yes. So
Wow. That's
mhm,
awesome.
yeah, it was crazy.
And what do you think about like the last couple of years, right? The effects with trying to write and trying to do all these things and raise your kids. Have you found that, have you found it exhausting? Have you found challenges along the way?
Yes, I would say many challenges and very exhausting because
Yeah.
not only did God lead me to do the mother son devotional after the mother daughter.
Yeah.
Not only did he lead me to the two devotionals, God started to place in my heart a new little dream to go back to school.
Oh,
And
wow.
I had seen somebody speak, and she had mentioned she graduated from Heritage and she had finished a graduate program for women in ministry. And I thought, yeah, no, that's ridiculous. Who are these people that go back to
I
school?
know,
And
right?
she was a homeschooling mom
Seriously.
and she was an
Yeah.
author. And I just thought, no, no, but I couldn't ignore it. You know, that nudge.
Yeah.
It's like God's
Yeah.
just gently poking you.
Yeah.
So,
So you need to say yes, right? Even though you kind
yes,
of want to say no.
I couldn't ignore it. I couldn't say no. So I think people again thought I was a little bit crazy, but I just really felt like God was leading me to
Yeah.
a new community and to connect with different women. So that was the challenging part, going back to school,
Yeah.
submitting assignments and coursework and the reading. But it was all God just kind of preparing me for what he wants me to do. And I just said, I don't know what you want me to do, but I'll say yes.
Yeah. Right, and it's so interesting how God brings us to that place where we wanna say yes, right? It takes a little
Yes.
while because so often I think when we're busy and we're doing all these things, we just wanna say, "No, no, no, no," right? But to be in a place where God had you so that you could say yes to this
Mhm.
crazy dream, right? And these
It
different
was
things.
crazy.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, I'm
Mhm.
thinking of the women that are listening today, and do you have a word of encouragement for them? And then maybe they have a yes on their hearts, but they are not sure. Should they step out
Yeah,
and say yes? What does that look like? Do they maybe have
yeah.
voices in their lives that are telling them no, right? And maybe it's not
Mhm.
the time. And so, what would you say to them today to encourage them?
Well, first of all, I would say if there is that burning yes or that desire inside of you to do something that
Hmm.
you are choosing that you want to honor God with, you have to write it down.
Yeah.
Start a journal, start documenting what you feel like God is laying on your heart. And then you need to share it with somebody. Don't keep
Hmm.
it to yourself. And then that person or the group of people that you share it with, you just start praying
Yeah.
and you don't go on your own time. And I learned for the first round, that was more my timing. That was my
Yeah.
agenda.
Right.
And when you lay it down, that's when I believe God starts to work because you're
Hmm.
submitting and you're being obedient to Him
Yeah.
and to His will, not your own will. And God has other things in front of you that He may be calling you to do that you might be
Hmm.
saying, oh, I don't want to do that. But that's what God might be saying to you. So when you start to
Yeah.
write things down and talk to people, things become more clear. And then you have those voices of wisdom in your life that say, you know what? You have a lot of kids at home right now. You should be doing this, or let's try this. And you just need to hear those voices. And I would encourage women to just really get in the word and pray and have that alone time with God so that you can recognize what He's saying to you through His word and
Mm.
always have somebody either in your life that's holding you accountable or mentoring you. And be prepared to step out and know that once you do step out, the enemy does not want you to do what God is calling you to do. And you
Yeah.
need to be prepared for battle. And
Yeah.
so you need to be arming yourself with the word of God and in prayer. That's probably the most important thing. And what has actually, I feel like, has held me over the past like 3 or 4 years
Mhm.
specifically, because He's called me to a lot in a short period of time that was very unexpected.
Yeah. Yeah, that's amazing, Sandy, and it's so true. We can say that over and over again, and then when you walk through it, you really realize how much you need those people
helping you and surrounding you. You need to put
Mhm.
on your armor every day. It is a battle, right?
It
And
is.
so I think we forget that. And so I'm
We
so
do.
glad that you mentioned that because we do. We need to rise up. We need to put our armor on every morning
Mhm.
like we do when we get dressed.
Yes. Yes, so
And
true.
just get ready because God has called us. And so we want to step out and say yes. And in that
Mhm.
season of no, sometimes it is not right now. We need to really be in the moment and realize, okay, what has God called me to
Mhm.
today?
Mhm. It's funny, the season of no, it's not a bad thing. It's a
No.
building season. And I
Yeah.
feel like me staying at home and homeschooling, which is not everybody's journey, it was just a constant layering and layering and layering and growing
Yeah.
until God was like, now it's time. And when you know, and you're
Yeah.
free to step out, and there's a peace that comes with that.
Yeah.
And that's, yeah, definitely a piece.
Hmm. Yeah. Well, that's amazing, Sandy. That is so encouraging. I love hearing your story and knowing that your heart that you've put into all those devotionals and where that came from. And I'm so excited to share that with other people, right? And that they can walk through those devotions with their children's, with their sons or with their daughters. And I look forward to hearing about your new book when it comes out in the spring.
Keep
So
you
thank you
posted,
so much for,
spring
yeah.
2024.
Yeah. So thank you so much, Sandy, for coming on today.
Well, thank you so much for having me. This has been a pleasure. Thank you.
Yeah, so awesome.
The right to clean water, sanitation, and hygiene is a basic human need that significantly impacts our lives, especially for young girls and women. However, millions around the globe are deprived of this essential right. This deprivation extends beyond just physical hardships. It often leaves communities untouched by the gospel's truth, leading to increased conflicts, power imbalances, family tensions, and overall unrest. By creating accessible, safe water points, we see an upsurge in girls' school attendance, a substantial decrease in malnutrition and illness, enhanced maternal and newborn health, more time for women to nurture their families and communities. It also opens doors to hear about Jesus and empowers women to start businesses, thus improving local economies. Elizabeth from Lucantown, Benai says, water is life. We can't undertake any activity without water. Now we can carry out our activities and earn a living. I run a business selling cassava flour and charcoal. To date, Gain has installed 3,105 deep-capped wells, which have transformed over 3.1 million lives and their communities. To combat the cycle of illness and disease, 251,664 individuals have attended hygiene and sanitation training. Every water project we undertake is driven by the aspiration for people to experience the transformative message of the gospel. With each well provided, Gain collaborates with local churches to share Christ's message within the community, leading to 1,061 new churches planted. Gain's Water for Life initiative focuses not only on community physical health, but also aims at reshaping gender perceptions impacting emotional and relational community health. Women often bear household care burdens, including water collection, yet lack respect and authority at home or in the community. To foster mutual understanding of each gender role, 69,727 individuals have attended gender sensitivity training, which has led communities towards healthier male-female relationships and improved family communication, along with increased respect for women. One of the women who attended a gender sensitivity training shared that the gender training has significantly improved our households. Quarrels between husbands and wives have decreased. Violence against women has reduced. This Christmas, if you wish to positively impact more women's lives, please visit globalaid.net/catalog. I hope that you were encouraged today by my conversation with Sandee. Watch for her new delightful children's illustrated book targeted at younger children, Can I Take It to Heaven? It's coming out this spring 2024. To connect with Sandee, you can check out our show notes. In those show notes, we'll post links and helpful resources that were mentioned today. Remember to subscribe to your podcast app. And for those watching the video edition, subscribe to our YouTube channel so that you don't miss an episode. Also, hop onto the discussion by following us on social media. You can find us on Instagram at Gather Women or online at gatherwomen.com. Be sure to join our subscriber list to find out how you can join hundreds of women in Canada who are just like you, wanting to connect for mutual encouragement and leadership influence. Looking forward to next time. Thanks for joining us.